Hello, explorers of the unknown. I'm Noah, and welcome to the first episode of UFO Archives. We will be starting things off with the Lubbock Lights. The Lubbock Lights were an unusual formation of lights seen over the city of Lubbock, Texas, in October to September in 1951. The Lubbock Lights incident received national publicity and is regarded as one of the first great UFO cases in the United States. The first sightings occurred on August 25th at around 9 p.m. 3 men were sitting in the backyard one night when they observed the lights fly overhead. A total of 20 to 30 lights, as bright as stars but larger in size, flew over the yard in a matter of seconds and disappeared. As they discussed the sighting, a second very similar group of lights flew overhead. The men were baffled and reported their sighting the next day to the local newspaper. Soon after the article was released, 3 women in Lubbock came forward and reported that they had observed strange flashing lights in the sky on the same night of the original sighting. A week or so later, on September 5th, the lights were seen again by the same group of men in August. One described the lights as appeared to be about the size of a dinner plate and that they were greenish blue, slightly luminous in color. There was about a dozen to 15 of these lights, and they were circular in shape. It gave all of us an extremely eerie feeling, and they went over so fast, one of the men said. 5 days after the first sighting on August 30th, a young man named Carl Hart Jr. observed a group of 18 to 20 white lights in a V formation flying overhead. Hart took his 35mm Kodak camera to the backyard, and shortly after 2 more flights went by, and Hart was able to take a total of 5 photos before they disappeared. These are the infamous photographic proof of the Lubbock Lights. We are now on to part 2 of the first episode, staying in the South with the Pascagoula Incident. On October the 11th of 1973, 42-year-old Charles Hickson and co-worker 19-year-old Calvin Parker were fishing on the banks of the Pascagoula River in Mississippi when they encountered something that would change their lives forever. At approximately 9 p.m., the men spotted a bluish, oblong orb pulsating in the sky about 2 to 3 miles away. This glowing egg-shaped object hovered just a few feet above the bayou, emanating a soft buzzing noise. As the object got closer, a hatch opened at the end of the oval craft, and 3 alien beings began to glide just above the water straight toward the 2 men. They were about 5 feet tall, had bullet-shaped heads without necks, slits for mouths, and where their noses and or ears would be, they had thin objects sticking out like spikes. They had no eyes, gray wrinkled skin, round feet, and claw-like hands. The 3 aliens hovered above the fishermen, their upper limbs moving in a jerky, almost mechanical fashion, one of them speaking in a series of unintelligible buzzing noises. The 2 other beings remained silent as they floated behind Hickson and effortlessly lifted him off the pier with robotic, lobster-like pincers. The 3rd creature grabbed a hold of Parker, who, overwhelmed by the whole ordeal, passed out cold. The 2 were then taken on board, and Hickson claims he was scanned by what appeared to be a mechanical eye. Parker could not recall what happened to him while he was inside the ship, but Hickson felt that about 20 minutes had elapsed before their abductors carried them back to the riverbank. As Hickson snapped out of shock, he noticed that Calvin was cowering on the ground, weeping and praying. Just seconds later, the terrified pair watched in continuing disbelief as a blue, self-illuminated object rose straight up and shot up into the atmosphere. Approximately 2 hours following the encounter, and still uncertain as the reception they would receive from local law enforcement, Hickson and Parker made the long drive to Jackson County, Mississippi Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Fred Diamond and Captain Glenn Ryder conducted an initial interview with the men and then left them alone in a room. Unbeknownst to the pair, Diamond and Ryder secretly taped the 2 discussing their abduction while they were alone in the interrogation room following the first interview. Diamond assumed that the secret tape would reveal the duo as the hoaxers he believed them to be, but was shocked to discover that in private they seemed even more disturbed than while they were talking to the authorities. Soon after the story hit mass media attention. This is very much worth research to get all the facts and details. And with that ends the first episode of UFO Archives. Thank you for listening and keep your ears on the skies. Stay tuned for the next episode.